Today is Monday of Holy Week, and each day this week in these slots I'm going to be reading to us from the Book of God, the Bible retold as a novel by author Walter Wangerin. I thoroughly recommend it for those who like a kind of imaginative approach to scripture. If you want to look up the verses, then they will appear on the screen, but I would suggest you simply allow the text to wash over you as we imaginatively try to enter into that final week of Jesus's life leading up to Good Friday and of course the triumph of Easter Sunday. Monday. Even before dawn the following day, when no one else was stirring, Jesus woke John, left Bethany and slipped into the old part of Jerusalem. Judas, filled with a high anticipation for the glory of this day, followed. Jesus and John walked north for a while, their heads bowed down, and then climbed the ancient steps which led up the west slope of the valley to the upper city. Here were the houses of wealthier people and narrow streets between them. Judas had to draw nearer in order to keep them in view. It nagged him that he was reduced to the role of a spy, but no one else knew the mind of the Messiah as well as he. Judas had to be always available. Jesus and John walked past the ritual baths of the Essenes, and they stopped before one of the large houses, an elaborate structure of white stone and iron lattices. Jesus knocked lightly on a door which faced down the mount to the west, and a man stepped out. Judas was irritated. The brief meeting looked very much like an assignation, strategizing, some kind of planning in which he, Judas, had no part. Swiftly now, Jesus was striding back the way he'd come. He turned a corner and shocked them both by suddenly appearing face to face with Judas. "What are you doing here?" Jesus said. For a moment, Judas was dumbfounded. He could feel his eyebrows twitching. "Someone," he said, "someone had to watch your back." "Why?" said Jesus. "Why?" The answer was so obvious to Judas that the question astonished him. Unless Jesus was testing him. Judas smiled and whispered, "Lord, you know." Jesus did not smile. He frowned. "I know that you have purchased swords," he said. "Judas, you should know that I have no need of swords." Messiah has no need of swords. The saying excited Judas, but that excitement became the measure of his disappointment in the rest of that day, Monday. Every indication of strength and purpose and rebellion stopped right here. Jesus sighed. His face sagged. The melancholy mood fell upon him again, and Judas became confused. Master, what are we going to do?" Jesus heaved another crushing sigh, and then, for no reason that Judas could discern, delivered a little lesson on death. "The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified," he said. "Truly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls to the earth and dies, it remains just a grain. But if it dies, it will bear much fruit." Jesus looked directly at Judas and said, "Those who love their lives will lose them, but those who hate their lives in this world will keep them hereafter, eternally." All at once the master groaned and sank to his knees. He folded his arms across his stomach and bent forward, and Judas felt his face grow hot with distress. He was embarrassed for the Lord suddenly revealing such pain, such weakness. "Oh, my soul," Jesus cried, "my soul is so troubled. And what should I say now? Father, save me from this hour? No." Slowly he lifted his head and rose to standing again. "No," he said. "It was for this very reason that I have come to this hour. Therefore I say, Father, glorify your name." And as if in answer, the sky exploded. "Thunder!" the people cried. But John whispered, an angel was speaking to him. So, said Jesus softly, "that was a voice from heaven for your sake. Now begins the judgment of this world. Now the prince of this world will be driven out. And when I am lifted up, I will draw all people to myself." Judas said, "Lord, what do you mean, lifted up?" It sounded like exaltation. Judas wanted to pursue exaltation. But then he began to be afraid. Jesus, this day, may we walk with you. May we understand that the way to exaltation is only through the cross. May we set aside our ambition, our thirst for power, our desire for personal glory, and may we seek only you.